In this first presentation, we're going to be talking about psychological measures. This is the foundation of research, and in many ways, this is an important, if not critical, aspect. So, in the early 1920s, the best-known psychometrician is Alfred Binet. And the reason why we know Alfred Binet is he created the Stanford-Binet intelligence test. He represents this group of psychologists, psychometricians, who believe that they can take a variable, a construct, and create a paper and pencil test that is able to measure this abstract concept or construct. This is the foundation of psychology. If anything, psychology is best known for the surveys we create. And basically, survey creation falls within this group of psychologists, of psychometricians. Now, as I said, at the core, and I use two words here, I use the word concept, but in psychological research, the term we actually use is construct. This is an abstract idea based on a theoretical foundation. So I draw your attention to your textbook, to figure 4.1. There's this lovely table in there that talks about the big five dimension, big five test, big five traits. It goes by multiple names. But essentially, what happened here is we have all these personality tests that are out there that supposedly measures our personality. And what they ended up doing is looking at all these various tests and realizing that you could boil this all down to these five dimensions, which we now assume is the big five, or we call the big five. I can't put my finger on it. I can't touch personality. I can't directly observe personality. I can observe proxies for personality traits. Okay? I can create these measures that purportedly, through empirical research, measures these underlying constructs. And this really goes back to one of the big criticisms of Freudian and psychodynamic or psychoanalytic theory, is that the constructs, things like defense mechanisms, the id, the ego, superego, that it's difficult for us to measure them. And that puts a major barrier into psychology's movement towards empirical science. We need to be able to accurately measure these, so we have to have some type of assessment tool, whether that is a paper and pencil test or whether that is behavioral observation, physiological observation. These constructs rest on conceptual definitions, and the conceptual definitions are going to come from theories. Theories are wonderful. Theories help guide our research question. Theories help us to put a story around a particular trait or phenomenon. Theories give us a vocabulary. These are the constructs that we are interested in. On the negative side, theories also can limit us because there are certain aspects that a particular theory may not be interested in, whereas other aspects they are. So if we look at psychoanalytic theory, I'm interested in personality. Okay, well, that's very different from behavioral theory or even cognitive behavioral theory. So the language that we use is going to determine that. Conceptual definitions are important, but when we're talking about research, it's actually this next definition, operational definitions, that become even more important. So a pretty standard example that I use to differentiate conceptual and operational definitions. I am a developmental psychologist by training. There are a number of issues in developmental psychology that are kind of historical, that we've seen them in the past, we see them currently, and they're probably going to see them in the future. One such issue is bullying. Bullying is not a new phenomenon. Maybe the way that it is being expressed or experienced might be new, but at that conceptual, that construct of bullying is not new. So if we wanted to do an observational study, we want to go look at a group of individuals who are experiencing or who are engaging in bullying. What's that group? Well, I'm going to pick kindergartners. Okay, kindergarten children are roughly 5, 6 years old. Place yourself in that situation. Okay, you're in a kindergarten classroom. What are you going to look for? How are you going to identify bullying behavior? Now, remember, you're looking at 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. What does bullying look like at that age level in that situation? Okay? That's the operational definition. Okay? As the researcher, you need to clearly identify that so that your research assistants, so that when you write this up, the people who are going to read your articles understand how you are defining bullying. And your definition, your operational definition, will most likely be connected to your theoretical foundation. Now, certain ways that we can define constructs, we can do self-report. Okay, so what is my experience of bullying in kindergarten? We can look at behavioral measures. This is where we come with the observational, where we sit in the back of the room or we videotape the classroom, and we are going to look for specific behaviors that students are going to engage in. We can look at physiological measures. Okay? If we are looking at individuals, is there an increase in neurochemicals or heart rate or respiration before someone engages in bullying behavior or as a result of experiencing bullying behavior? If we really want to get idealistic, the best way to come up with an operational definition of a construct is to use multiple sources. And that we are, and this is that converging measure. Now, like I said, this is idealistic. Sometimes, money, sometimes time is going to limit how we can look at this and why we're going to look at this. Perhaps also that our theory has a plethora of existing information that we already have a good foundation, and we know what the best practice is to look at this particular construct, how to measure it.